Welcome back to Speakeasy, the podcast where we bridge the gap between native English and your journey to fluency. I'm your host, Sarah, and today we're diving into a topic that's close to many hearts: travel. Specifically, those unforgettable and sometimes hilarious first experiences abroad. Joining me today is our fantastic learner guest, Kenji. Kenji, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Sarah. I'm excited to share my stories.
Today, Kenji is going to tell us about his very first trip to an English-speaking country. We'll hear about the adventures, the challenges, and maybe a few lost in translation moments. Remember, our goal here is natural conversation, building confidence, and gently polishing your English skills. Let's get started. All right, Kenji, take us back in time. Where did you go for your first trip, and what was your first impression?
My first trip was to London. I was very excited, but also a little bit scared. I remember I arrived to the airport and I was looking for my luggage. I had a big suitcase and it was very heavy. I tried to ask for help, but my English was not so good. I said, "Can you help me with my bag, please? It is very much heavy." The man looked at me strange.
Very much heavy. I totally get what you meant, Kenji. That's a really creative way to say it. But in English, we usually say, "It's very heavy," or "It's too heavy." Very much is something we normally use with verbs, like, "I like it very much." Does that make sense?
Yes, very heavy. Okay, I understand now. Thank you.
No problem at all. So, you found your very heavy suitcase. What happened next?
Then I went to my hotel. I wanted to ask for the Wi-Fi password. I said to the receptionist, "Can I have the code for the internet, please? I need to connect my phone." She gave me a paper, but I didn't understand. I think she said, "You must to pay for it." I was really confused because in my country, Wi-Fi is free everywhere.
You must to pay for it. Yes, that's a really common mix-up. In English, we usually say you have to pay or you must pay. No to after must. Must is one of those tricky little verbs that doesn't need to in front of the next verb. And yes, hotel Wi-Fi can be a bit of a shock, can't it?
Yes, very surprising. So, you have to pay. Got it.
Exactly. What else surprised you about London?
I remember I went to a restaurant and I wanted to order a coffee. I said, "I want a big coffee, please." The waiter looked at me a little bit not happy. I think I was not polite enough.
That's such a great observation, Kenji. You're right. "I want a big coffee" is technically correct and totally understandable. But in English, especially when ordering, we often soften our language to sound more polite. Instead of "I want," we'd usually say, "Could I have?" or "I'd like." So, "Could I have a large coffee, please?" It's a small difference, but it makes a big impact.
Could I have? That's very helpful. I'll remember that.
Perfect. Any other memorable moments from that trip?
Yes. One day I decided to visit the British Museum. It was amazing. So many old things. I spent the whole day there. And in the evening, I met some new friends. We went to a pub. I am in London since 3 days by then, and I was feeling more confident with my English. We talked about our countries and our lives. It was a really good experience.
That sounds like such a wonderful day. And meeting new friends, that's always the best part of traveling. But let me help with one little phrase. You said, "I am in London since 3 days." Totally understandable, but in English, we'd use the present perfect here. I have been in London for 3 days. We use have been when something started in the past and is still true now. Or if you're using since, it's I have been in London since Monday. Make sense?
Ah, I have been. Yes, I hear that often. So, I have been in London for 3 days. Okay, I'll try to remember that. It's a little difficult sometimes.
It definitely is, but you're doing great. And the fact that you were feeling more confident and making new friends, that's amazing. So tell me, what was your favorite part of the museum?
My favorite part was the Rosetta Stone. It was much bigger than I thought. And to think about how old it is and how it helped us understand ancient Egypt, it was really mind-blowing. I also liked the Egyptian mummies, but they were a little bit scary. I took many photos.
The Rosetta Stone is incredible, isn't it? Mind-blowing is the perfect word. And yeah, those mummies can be a bit spooky. It sounds like you made the most of your visit. Any other surprises from your time in London?
Yes, I remember the traffic. It was very busy, and the cars drive on the left side. It was very confusing when I tried to cross the road. I almost walked into a car once. But after a few days, I got used to it.
Oh, left-hand traffic. That's a classic. Anyone from a right-hand driving country feels that shock at first. It takes time, but it sounds like you adjusted well. Despite a few challenges, it really sounds like you had a rich and memorable first trip abroad. Wow, Kenji, those were fantastic stories. You handled everything so well. Let's quickly recap some of the helpful language points we covered today. First, instead of very much heavy, we say very heavy. Then, for something still happening now, we use have been, like I have been here for 3 days. We also learned that you must to pay should be you must pay or you have to pay. And finally, for polite requests, try could I have or I'd like instead of I want. Now, Kenji, you mentioned seeing so many amazing old things at the British Museum, like the Rosetta Stone and the mummies. That's a great way to describe them. But sometimes when we're talking about objects, especially when we want to be more descriptive or sound more natural, we use some common phrases. Let's look at a few. Instead of just, it is big, you could say, it's quite large, a bit formal but common. It's pretty big, more casual. It's huge or it's massive for very big things. It takes up a lot of space, describes its presence. It's surprisingly big, small, if it's not what you expected. And for describing how something looks or feels, it looks like a something else for comparisons. It feels like a material, texture. It's made of material. It's well preserved for old artifacts like the mummies. It's intricately designed or it's beautifully crafted for detailed or artistic objects. Kenji, can you try describing the Rosetta Stone again using one of these phrases?
Okay, the Rosetta Stone was surprisingly big, and it was well preserved for something so old. It was made of dark stone.
Perfect. See how that adds a little more detail and sounds very natural. These phrases help you paint a clearer picture for your listener. Kenji, what's one piece of advice you'd give to learners who are nervous about speaking English in a new country?
I would say, don't be afraid to make mistakes. People are usually kind and they understand. And try to listen a lot.
That's brilliant advice. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, absolutely. And yes, listening is such a powerful tool. The more you listen, the more it all starts to feel natural. To our listeners, remember, communication is the goal. Don't let the fear of making mistakes stop you from speaking. People will appreciate your effort. So, to summarize today's episode, say very heavy instead of very much heavy. Use have been plus for or since for ongoing actions. Drop the to after must, say you must pay. Use polite forms like could I have or I'd like instead of I want. Kenji, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your stories today.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, Sarah.
And thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. We hope this episode helps you feel more confident in your English journey. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with a friend who's learning English.